What's going on, everybody? D-Style here. How's it going? What's up, Gano Local Sports? Everybody subscribe to Gano Local Sports. Look, man, sports talk with TJ. How's it going? John Le Huele. However you pronounce it. I still can't pronounce this shit. Your name. Sorry, man. But I'll get it one day. I'll call you John. It's P tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Chicano Prophet and Chief Funky will be joining me. I find it funny, I find it hilarious. I really do. That like everything, literally everything Teofimo Lopez says, anything he could say anything. And there's a barrage of videos talking about how, oh, look, he's ducking. What do you mean he's ducking? Oh, he called Haney boring. It's a duck. Like, what? He's ducking because he said that the fight with Gamboa was boring? What? Okay. I mean, look, if you're already convincing yourself that the guy's a ducker, you've already made up your mind. Why do you keep making videos every time he says something? Why do you do that? How's it going, Fistiana? Joe Lopez, 40 ounce. Lo Joven. Like that? Okay. Well, why do I got to keep seeing these videos up? You could do them. There's nothing wrong with doing the video. I'm just asking a question. Look, I understand that the lightweight champion of the world, all right, is Teofimo Lopez. Like, be honest. Like, if you had to pick one, like, if only one could be the champion, who would you pick? Like, if you lined them all up, like, let's say we're gonna reform the sport starting tomorrow, right? And we line these dudes up and they ask you, hey, pick the champion. Who's the guy? The only one. Like, oh no, but you gotta understand. You see, the WBC did this and that. No. Just stop. Who is the man at lightweight? Really, it's just really simple, right? Nah, but you see, it's because, Luke Campbell, didn't fight him, and then he did this and that, and then they did the okey doke, and then they avoided, and Teofimo Lopez was probably behind the scenes, paying off these guys to not fight him. So therefore, when he beats those guys, he don't have to fight them. I don't want to hear none of that, right? I just don't. No, but you see what it really is that these Mexicans, they get all he's not Mexican. Yeah, but in a way he is because they believe that he is, and I believe that he is. Yeah. No, but you see, Teofimo Lopez is only where he's at because of how he looks and all this other nonsense that I keep hearing. Teofimo Lopez is not where he's at because of quote unquote how he looks. All right. Teofimo Lopez isn't where he's at for no other reason other than beating the best fighters at lightweight. He's beating the better opposition. Period. Period. Who knows what the future holds? Okay. However, pointing out that Devin Haney's fight was boring, right? Doesn't mean that somebody just hates Devin Haney or anything like that. Let me make this really clear to you. I'm a boxing purist. I could watch a Devin Haney fight. I can. That's me. Okay? I appreciate pure boxers. But I don't hate on other people that have an issue, okay, with fights being boring. If the fights are boring, then they're boring. Do you understand? If somebody finds a fight boring, sometimes there's nothing deeper than that. It just means it didn't entertain them. It means they were yawning in the middle of watching it. That's all it means. While I appreciated it, I wasn't entertained. The rounds kept just looking the same over and over again. And if you want me to be very, very frank, Devin Haney to me looks like a Corey Spinks 2.0. And if anybody needs to step up and fight somebody better and definitely have better performances, it's definitely Devin Haney. Dude can't punch himself out of a paper bag. He don't got power. And that's hurting people's feelings for some reason. Why does it hurt your feelings? It's because we're pointing out the obvious. The dude can't crack. Because why is it only an issue when Teofimo Lopez points out that he's fucking boring? Again, all right, I told you where I stand on it. I don't have an issue with pure boxers. I don't. That's me. Okay. But I also know that when if I sit down in a house full of people watching the fight, I'm really going to be the only one paying attention because everybody else is going to start talking about what they're going to be doing tomorrow on Sunday. And what are they going to be doing next weekend? You ever watch that Devin Haney fight, right? Reminds me of those fights when you're sitting down with a group of people, right? And you're pumped up about the fight. And by round 4, people are talking about what they're going to be doing next weekend. Who do you got tomorrow? The Cowboys or the Steelers? And who are you going to vote for on Tuesday and all this other shit? That's exactly what the Devin Haney fight reminded me of. But why is it an issue? Teofimo Lopez can have an opinion. He can't call the fight boring. Why? Why not? Why can't he say it's boring? What's going on to Neon Eyes? How are you doing? Bruce Goes. How are you? Stay ready. How are you? Why can't he point that out? Why are people so upset when something's pointed out as boring? Why do we have to be shamed as boxing fans to just enjoy it? No, don't call it boring. If you're a real boxing fan, guys, if you appreciate boxing, guys, you will call it exciting, guys. But we know what time it is, guys, right? So you're telling me right now, Gamboa Haney, you have it up there for your fight of the year candidate, is what you're telling me. Tank made fun of his performance. Why do you think Tank was laughing? Why do you think that is? In his opinion, Devin Haney looked like dog shit. All right? Gary Russell came out and said it was the most boring shit he ever seen in his life. Why don't I see videos about Russell? Oh, Russell. What's really going on with Russell? Why does he say it's boring? If you don't want people to call your fights boring, don't give them boring fights. Simple as that. If you want to pitch shutouts and all that, you do what you got to do. Keep beating people, you'll get the fights. You will. All right? But here's the reality, and you guys, a lot of people out there just has to face this reality. Get the smoke. How you doing? Gamboa's been knocked down over 17 times in his career, right? You don't have to be a master at metrics to understand what I'm about to say. Gamboa started at featherweight. He's fighting a lightweight that is big and soon going to be moving up to junior welterweight. Gamboa got hit flush. And this is a point Gary Russell actually pointed out, right? And it's true. The zone team kept saying, man, for some reason, I think Gamboa, he just grew a chin tonight, like some shit. Like what are you talking about? They kept talking about how tonight Gamboa was really taking shots very well, and like he was hitting Gamboa flush many times. Gamboa was getting hit flush by Haney and wasn't going anywhere. All right. This is a fighter coming off, you know, an ankle injury, an Achilles injury at that, which is actually worse. This is a fighter, all right, that did not look in shape. Gamboa looked like he had a fucking gut. He didn't get corona. He drank coronas. Did you see that gut in that dude? A Wavy. How's it going? Did you not see the gut on that dude? I'm not lying. It's on tape. Clearly, Gamboa was not the same guy. Clearly, Gamboa can't move like he used to move. Clearly. I know nobody going to convince me otherwise. The fight before the Tank fight, Gamboa was moving a little better right in that fight. Clearly, there's something up with that Achilles. And if it isn't the Achilles, clearly there's something up just with him as a fighter. Okay. I mean, the dude was in probably the worst shape I've seen him in. All right. And I don't care who this pisses off, but Devin Haney, I still question if he has a chin. To his credit, he hasn't been hit that flush that often. And Gamboa just wasn't going to be the guy to do it. We don't even know if Devin Haney can take a punch. And you better pray to God he can. Because he sure as hell ain't going to be taking guys out of there. I don't believe that he tried that. I just don't believe that he, didn't want to hurt him because that's his idol or some shit. Like who believes that? Why? Because he took a picture with the guy. Really, Gamboa is your idol? All right, Gamboa's my idol. Has said no one. No one's ever said that. Okay. I mean, I guess it's possible, all right, but I just don't believe it. I just think you just couldn't get the job done. You couldn't get him out of there. You couldn't get a knockdown on the guy. And I understand that the one theory is, you know what? He was on survival mode, and it's hard to take out a guy on survival mode, right? Okay, fair enough, but you did hit him clean at times. And you had the zone team spinning it, making it seem like Gamboa has a rock hard chin, which he doesn't. If I go back and I think about, man, who can I think about? Like a guy that didn't really have much pop in his punches, was a really good boxer, at least early on in his career, showed a lot of, defensive prowess, was undefeated for a good while. But then the time came, like when it was that time, he got taken out. Well, he reminds me of Corey Spinks. Now, I'm not saying he's Corey Spinks, but that's what he reminds me of in many ways. And believe me, Corey Spinks has had better performances, than before he, got knocked to tomorrow by Zab Judah, okay, than Haney's had so far. So I don't want to hear anybody tell me, oh, no, he's better than Corey. How do you know he's better than Corey? Corey Spinks beat Ricardo Mayorga. Right after Ricardo Mayorga had just beaten Vernon Forrest, knocked, stoppage and decision. Name me one. I mean, that Ricardo Mayorga, like who at welterweight? Haney hasn't beat anybody like that. So I don't want to hear any, how dare you and all that, this and the third. Right? Corey was a skilled fighter. Chain with Ice, A-Rod, Zeno, how you doing? You know, for whatever reason, like I guess us boxing, like a lot of us need to understand, by the way, that what's for the boxing purists isn't for everybody, right? In normal circumstances, I wouldn't even be talking about and harping on the fact that he couldn't take out Gamboa. I wouldn't, right? But I gotta sit here and listen to video after video, or I had to. It's kind of dying out now, but I had to listen to video after video. Oh, he couldn't even take out a hype job like Lomachenko, and he's really beating nobody. He's only beating a hype job and this, that, and the third. I got to sit down and listen to that, but I got to be fair about Haney not knocking out Gamboa. I have to sit down and pretend. Do I need to pretend that it was an exciting fight? Is that what I need to do? A lot of just gonna have to get used to the fact that Teofimo Lopez is gonna move when he wants to move and how he wants to move. He doesn't answer to anybody, right? He doesn't answer to you. He doesn't answer to me either, but he doesn't answer to you. Teofimo Lopez is gonna move how he wants to move. The Haney fight ain't gonna happen because Haney's on the zone. Okay? Haney made the decision to sign with the zone. Nobody forced him to. And the zone's not going to let him go fight on ESPN. If they do, good for them. But that's what they're going to have to do. The zone needs money anyway. Okay, so they should probably let ESPN give him a little piece of the pie. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's what they should do. Plus, who do you want Theo to fight anyway? Like, who do you want him to fight? Everything this kid says, right? I should use the word kid because people go like, you know what I mean? He's actually a grown ass man, but that's besides the point. But I'm in my 30s. Okay, that's why I said kid. But look, everything he says, even though many people are saying the same thing, fighters in the same weight class are saying the same thing. Oh, Theo, how dare he talk so much shit to Devin? Yeah, like when he told him, what about old girl? Oh, no, that was Tank. Right? It's just simple. Teofimo Lopez defeated reigning champion Richard Comey. Teofimo Lopez beat reigning champion Vasyl Lomachenko. Tank nor Devin have beaten a reigning champion. They want to play the Super Bowl without having to go through the playoffs. Period. I have to hear the same. I have to hear all that about Crawford, right? Oh, Crawford. What is he doing while Spence is over here beating reigning champions? What's Crawford doing? What's Crawford going to do? Crawford side with Top Rank. It's his fault. All the smoke is PBC. And I agreed 100%. Let's keep the same energy. This dude is on the zone. Everybody knows it's a non-starter. You already know he cannot just go and fight David on the zone. Why would ESPN invest all this on Teofimo Lopez with Top Rank and just let him go fight on the zone and let the zone get the spoils of the fight? Why would they do that? Like everybody knows that's nonsense. Devin Haney made a decision to sign with the zone, okay? And that's why all he gets to brag about on Twitter is how much money he's making. Okay. Oh, look how much I'm making at age 21. And Tank's talking about how much money he made on pay-per-view. And I made more than you. But at 21, I'm making more than you did. And notice how they're talking about that, but they can't talk about the motherfuckers they've beaten. Notice how they talked about that, but they can't talk about the motherfuckers they've beaten. Why'd you dropping names? Gumboa's supposed to be his name. Gumboa's supposed to be Devin Haney's step up. Gumboa. Lomachenko. I heard channels on here call Lomachenko old, washed up, and all this other shit. Okay? But they didn't keep the same energy for Gumboa. Like, are you kidding me? Gumboa's allegedly in his late 30s. I think that motherfucker's in his 40s. All right? You know what to say about Cubans. All right? I don't even know if that's true or not, but everybody's saying it about everybody else, every other Cuban. So I guess I'll say it about, but we're not going to say it about Gamboa now or what? How about Tank and Devin fight each other? Well, why don't I see videos about that? Tank ducked Lomachenko. Okay? I mean, this is unbelievable. So we're just going to give him a pass. But the guy that beats Lomachenko, he needs to go through the gauntlet. He needs to fight Devin and Tank. So he's supposed to fight Devin, and while he fights Devin, Tank can fight whoever he wants, right? Come on now. Let's not double dip now. Pisciana says, true. EBS says, dude, would love to collab one day. Maybe one day. Keep posting. Stay subscribed. Stay listening. All right? We keep switching up the rules and shit. We just keep switching up the rules. Let me tell you something. Devin Haney needs to fight somebody bad. Like, okay, like I mean like a real body. Like bad. Okay? I was not impressed with the Gamboa performance. I just wasn't. Right? I didn't learn anything new about Devin Haney in that fight. I don't even know the dude has a second gear. I don't know if he has a chin. I don't know how he's going to act when shit gets really, really tough, because every fighter goes through that. All of them. Right? Some of you call Floyd Mayweather TBE. Right? A lot of you boxing fans out there, TBE, Floyd. Floyd, he was hurt by Chop Cordy. He had to overcome that. The Drunken Master hurt him. He had to overcome that. Castillo was grinding and really on his ass in that first fight. And regardless of who you feel won that fight, one thing we did learn is that Floyd was a tough motherfucker. He passed that test in terms of being able to, deal with adversity in a ring. We don't have any of these questions for Devin. None of this has been answered, and I get, right? And I get, right, that the response is, well, just then fight, then Dio should fight him. Yeah, but I already talked about that. The dude made the same mistake a lot of people are saying Crawford made, right? People were okay with Fox PBC not even recognizing Crawford as a champion. And that was okay, right? Now, who cares? Fuck the WBO. Fuck Crawford and WBO. Why should PBC push the WBO when they're in bed with Top Rank and this and that? Okay, so why should Top Rank give a fuck in turn about fucking DAZN and the fight that DAZN has? It's the same thing, right? Don't open Pandora's boxes if you don't want them exposed. All right? You want to open Pandora's boxes? Okay, I didn't create the Pandora's box. I'm only pointing it out. You guys doing, even if Haney and Theo say, okay, sure, yeah, let's fight, let's do it. They're going to sit down at a table and then they're going to have an obstacle. The obstacle is DAZN. Right? That's it. Simple as that, right? As simple as that. I mean, that's what it is. Now, Theo's not pretending that Haney doesn't exist, right? Which is literally what PBC was doing to Crawford. They were pretending dude didn't exist. They wouldn't show him on the screen. They wouldn't even talk about him. Okay, like nowhere to be seen. They'll put all the welterweight champions, and they wouldn't include Crawford on there. Oh no, we're not counting the WBO. Yeah, but PBC has had WBO, and they have some WBO champions who they do recognize. All right, when it's a PBC fighter. Just saying. Just saying, right? I know I'm making a lot of sense. Oh, I know I am. I think the fight to make, right? For me, if there's going to be more pressure, it should be Tank versus Theo. That's my opinion. By far. All right? By far. Nobody's moving the goalpost. They're ready. Nobody moved the goalpost at all. The question is not who else is Theo going to fight. I'm glad you admitted who else, but who's Haney going to fight, period. I'm not against the fight. But whose fault is it that they signed with the zone? I know he's bragging about the money he's making at age 21, but what good does that do? What good does that do us? Well, where should the fight take place? They ready? The zone or ESPN? Where does it take place? Let's go on record right now, right? Let's go on record. Where should the fight take place? The zone? On app that didn't even have Devin Haney trending. He was like 6 or 7 and trending, right? Like shortly lived. And maybe you could say, nah, it was all the election stuff. Biden gave his speech and this and that. Maybe it was that, but at the end of the day, if you're subscribed to the zone, right, you're gonna watch it. You're paying for the zone, and you're gonna tweet about it. You would think, right? The reason was Terrence's case because Arrow was still fighting champions and tough fights. Terrence wasn't. Just replace the word Teofimo with Terrence. Okay, replace Terrence with Teofimo and Haney with Crawford. It's the same situation. Just do that. It's the same thing. Who was fighting champions and dethroning reigning champions? Teofimo was. By the way, we don't even know what the next move is. How do you duck somebody when these guys literally just finished fighting? None of them are going to fight till 2021. None of them. Right? None of them. It's the same situation. It's the same thing. Just replace Terrence with Theo and the word Spence with Haney. Or I'm sorry. Let me Haney with Terrence. I apologize. Replace the word Terrence with Haney and replace Theo with Spence. Spence fighting tough champions, right? You know, he fought, when he fought Porter, nobody was saying, oh, why are you ducking Crawford, right? Even though that's the fight everybody wanted to see. Okay, no problem. He's got to get the belts, right? So at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is, but that's the situation. The fight takes place on ESPN. Thank you. He's the ace Saikano, absolutely. I'm glad we all agreeing to this. So when push comes to shove, okay, and the zone doesn't allow this shit to happen because they're insistent, okay, because they're paying Haney a lot of money. Believe me, they want him to fight on their network. Okay. When the zone becomes the problem and the reason that the fight doesn't happen, I don't want to hear people blame Teofimo Lopez. Nothing on Teofimo Lopez's resume suggests, all right, that he's a guy that's going to be ducking people and running for the hills from fighters. Okay. Nothing. I ain't crucifying anybody, but I don't know if you're speaking in general, Kano, but I'm not crucifying anybody. You know, you know what I don't believe in either. I don't believe in, and I'm not saying you did this because you didn't, but I don't believe in crucifying a fighter for everything he says. Especially since now he's like public enemy number one with some people, just for speaking his mind, right? He's public enemy number one. You got people out here, attacking his wife and calling his wife names and his family names and, all this stuff, right? Which is cool. You could do whatever you want, right? People out here calling him, Theo female and homo femo, and he's a crybaby bitch. They're still playing the clips of him crying and all this, which is cool, right? But then they got a problem when the dude's got an opinion about something. And there's plenty of fighters Theo could fight, by the way. Lightweight is loaded. I know you may not know about a lot of the guys out there, but it's loaded, right? Lightweight is loaded like a motherfucker, right? Again, you may not know who some of these guys are, but they're coming. Some lightweights are 1 or 2 fights away from being like top 5 easy. So there's opponents trying to fight. Yes, Jalop, it is ridiculous. God knows who they are. This idea he's got nowhere to go and nobody to fight. So some of these other dudes just might be better than Haney. I just got to tell you that. I don't care whose feelings that hurts. They might even be better than Theo. Who fucking knows? We're only going to find out till they fight. The world doesn't revolve around a dude that's fighting on the zone right now. It just doesn't. Simple as that. No, I'm not saying anybody on this chat or anything like that. Okay. I'm not saying anybody here or anything like that, but there's some dudes out there, right? Just flat out don't like Teofimo Lopez, and it just oozes out of you guys, and you don't have to say it out loud. It's obvious, you know, like it just is. Even before he said anything about Wilder or anything like that, even before all that, it was already there. Like I could already sense it. All right. Like this idea that he hasn't done anything is ridiculous. All right. It is. Dethroned 2 reigning champions. What are you talking about? I believe he's the only lightweight champion that beat a champion, and he beat 2 of them. Okay, like seriously. The definition of a paper champion for years was always a guy that just got a belt, just got a title. Now, granted, if you have a title, you have a title. And if you want to hold on to that title and, hey, you got to fight me to be undisputed, that's a different discussion. All right. But Teofimo Lopez I mean, he's the real deal. It would be nice that if you want to play in the Super Bowl against a champ, you should at the very least fight somebody comparable to a Lomachenko to get to the Super Bowl. Something I always agreed with was, hey man, Terence Crawford, he's waiting for Errol Spence to beat Porter, beat Pacquiao, get all the belts. And then he just wants to jump in and fight for Undisputed when Errol's done all the work, right? Errol's been over here like Thanos collecting the stones, right? And he just wants to fight him at the very end. Now, I have it on record. I have it on record. People that agreed with that. So when it comes to this situation, I'm just a firm believer. Look, I'm not against the fight. I need to make that very, very clear, okay? But seeing videos every day, oh, here, Theo said Haney's boring. Duck! He's ducking! He's avoiding the fight! You know, like, nah, that doesn't mean he's avoiding the fight at all. It's just his opinion. Gary Russell wanted to fight him, supposedly, right? He did. But Gary Russell called him boring. Hey, Shotty, I just watched that fight, Shotty, man. Shotty, it's the boring shit I ever watched in my life. Like, you know, like, that's what he said. So, you know, it's all good, you know. Like here's the thing about pure boxers, okay, that a lot of you guys don't understand, right? And just to kind of dive in for you a little bit. People are supposed to call pure boxers boring, okay? Like, I find it funny how people like get offended by that or think that's like pure boxers historically, right? Especially guys that move a lot and avoid engagement and pot shot, right? Have always been known as like the thing is that they never cared. Like that their MO is winning and playing the matador in that ring, right? Like not paying attention to the crowd or they're booing, whatever, just do your thing. You know what I mean? That's always been the case. I mean, look, I mean, Joe Louis called Jersey Joe Walcott a runner, right? Said he was running the whole fight because he wanted him to engage. Okay, Jersey Joe Walcott, while he did engage, he didn't move a lot in the ring. So you ever see their interviews after that? Joe Louis talks about how this. I mean, he was running the whole fight in his mind. So this calling a guy a runner and all that is not anything new. It's not a new age fan thing, right? What is a new age fan thing is shaming people that just call it boring or just don't enjoy it. That's a new age fan thing. You could appreciate something, but admit it's not that exciting. Like, you know, I appreciate the art of a pure boxer. I do, right? I understand they're not going to give me the most exciting fights unless there's somebody that could really cut off the ring on them and make it exciting in that sense, right? But literally, like the more boring that fight is, the more exciting or the most likeliness is that they win, right? But I don't want to dive too much into that. Mr. Finesse, how you doing? What's going on to Chief Funky, Chicano Prophet? How you guys doing? ATP tonight, guys. I do got to get going, but I want to thank you guys for listening. All right? I really do. Anybody want to see Tank versus Haney? Like, you know, nobody wants to see that fight? Especially the way they're talking on Twitter and shit. Which, by the way, I don't even think that fight could happen. Tank and his people are going to want it on pay-per-view. The Zone's the anti-pay-per-view app. And he's on the Zone. I mean, that's a decision he made. I don't know how else to put it. So, I mean, hopefully, especially if the Zone is in need of money, they'll take a little bit of the pie in order to make the fight happen. Maybe ESPN gives them $1 million to allow Haney to fight on this side, right? But then it's reasonable to say, I mean, it's going to have to come out of Haney's pocket, right? Simple as that. Hey, Tank Haney, let's do it. I mean, why not? Like, Haney needs to beat somebody. Like, you know what I mean? He really does. And if it's not that, then the winner of Ryan versus Campbell, you know? The winner, Ryan Garcia versus Campbell. Say what you want about Ryan. I have a lot of criticisms about Ryan, but he has the speed and the footwork. Okay, maybe his chin is a little too high, but I don't know if I'm that concerned about Ryan having his chin up against Haney. I don't know if I'm concerned about that. I got a question if he's going to be able to take Ryan Garcia's pop. I know there's people out here that would like to say Ryan hasn't proven anything, but neither has Haney. Like, it's just the truth. That's just the reality. So that's all I'm saying, right? Let's talk about all the fighters. Let's not just focus on Theo and what Theo has to do. Let's talk about all the fighters. What is Tank going to do? Who the fuck's Tank going to fight? Who's Tank going to fight at lightweight next? If Theo has nowhere to go, where the fuck does Tank got to go? They're all in the same division. Well, where's he going to go? So, just wanted to touch on this. I'm not going to be touching on it much on ATP tonight. Okay? So, that's all I got to say. I do got to get going. This is D-Style Boxing, and I'm out of here, guys. Peace.